In New Light Video Magazine, seeing in a new perspective. October issue, volume 19. Our feature story will have you in good spirits as we interview television personality and professional paranormal investigator Patrick Burns. There are other great stories in this issue as well, including the Georgia Coffins. I was considering upgrading mine myself. Festive October. The real zombie survival guide, so that you don't lose your head. Astrology with Tim Halloran. And catch the monthly trivia, top 15 Halloween music picks, and the A&A celestial calendar and forecast inside. You can find out more at www.innewlightvideomagazine.com or view them on YouTube. Table of Contents. The table of contents is designed for you to get the best enjoyment from INLVM. Simply find the story you want to experience from the contents and go to that time code, or let it play for the full issue. Contents. Otherworld News. The Georgia Coffins. Time code 325. Rolling Green Project. Geodesic Domes. Time code 840. Festive October. Time code 1239. Feature story. Patrick Burns. Time code 1645. What's up? Uncovering unexplained phenomena. Animal mutilation phenomena. Time code 2233. Entertainment Central. Trivia time. Time code 3050. Mockingbird Lane. Time code 3220. Halloween Grove. Top 15 songs of the season. Time code 3742. Holistic Health. The Real Zombie Survival Guide.
Double tap!
Time code 3945. Ogre Snacks. Edible Eyeballs. Time code 4319. Astronomy and Astrology. Astronomy Photo of the Month. Witchhead Nebula. Time code 4658. Astrology with Tim Halloran. Time code 4850. A&A Celestial Calendar and Forecast. Time code 5445. About in New Light Video Magazine. Time code 10412. Contributors and credits. Time code 10519.
Georgia Coffins, revealing truth or myth. When we see rows and rows of coffins, it can make us think something major may be about to happen, or look like something we should see in the movies. Much to my surprise, I have found out that around the U.S., there are over 5 million FEMA coffin camps. There are multiple stories circulating the internet about the purpose of these camps. Then, the stories stating that these are concentration camps that are being built for the public. Confusion, fear, and conspiracies rule the day. Even though these places exist, the whole FEMA camp idea may be just a myth. With countless rumors of President Obama ordering tasks that are normally only seen on our sci-fi movies, they should make us question and re-question things. Then, the rumors of him ordering millions of FEMA coffins to be stored in each state put a lot of people on high alert, and conspiracy theories started flying. On Snopes.com, they explained how these coffins were to be used in more practical ways, claiming that these coffins were put in place back in 2008, long before Obama was in office. These are not FEMA coffins. Snopes.com reports what is shown in the photos displayed with the FEMA camp story are not plastic coffins, but rather what is known as burial vault or grave liners. These liners don't hold human remains themselves. They're a protective shell that coffins are placed into before interment in areas where water seepage or ground subsidence is an issue. And back in 2008, In the Morgan County Citizen, Catherine Purcell reported, tens of thousands of these liners were stored on leased land in Madison, Georgia, back in the 1990s by their manufacturer, the nearby Vantage Products Corporation, based in Covington, Georgia, for distribution in other areas on an as-need basis. Since the coffin liners are made to withstand the elements, there was no need for Vantage to store them indoors, so they simply leased a large, unused outdoor field for use as a warehouse. Can this explanation be correct? It is reported that 65,000 people die every year in Georgia, and 2.5 million people die every year in the U.S. These vaults put families at ease by airlocking the coffin so it and their loved one will stay undisturbed. Even back in 2009, Popular Mechanics posted a debunking story concerning the FEMA camp claim. Editor-in-Chief James Meigs appeared on Glenn Beck's Fox News program twice to debunk the conspiracy theories regarding supposed concentration camps being built by the Federal Emergency Management Agency. So, why is this just coming to the forefront now? Is this just a conspiracy being spread to the masses to invoke fear into the hearts of people? It is normal to want and to seek truth, and maybe the truth is before us and we are unwilling to see it. There are prophecies and movies that talk about the end of time, like the apocalypse. Could this just be another ploy to put us in a state of panic, keeping us paranoid and in a state of mistrust against our neighbors? Now, with the reports of Ebola virus spreading, many are wondering if this may be a way of downsizing our population. One part of the claim is that FEMA can suspend the Constitution by declaring a national emergency. On June the 24th, 1998, FEMA spokesman stated in an article in the Washington Post, "You may emphatically state that FEMA does not have, never has had, nor will ever seek the authority to suspend the Constitution." And he later went on to explain in an internal memo, "Most people know us as the agency that responds to natural disasters. Others believe we are somewhat sinister role. For the latter, it is not realistic to think we can convince them otherwise, and it is advisable not to enter into debate on the subject." So what do you think? Have you found evidence supporting the claims to FEMA concentration camps? While there is a lot of good information out there, there is also bad propaganda out there. We want the truth, and yes, I agree, we should be told the truth. Sometimes there are things that they cannot tell us, not for the fact of trying to brainwash us, but to keep us safe. Maybe this is one subject we may not completely know the truth about. Maybe the truth is before us, yet we are not willing to see it. Truth be known, people are not trusting their governments right now, so it can leave us open to be misled. What do you think about all this? Is there a need to be concerned by this, or are we just being taken on a wild goose chase? Let us know what you think about this subject, and if you have different information, please share with us on our Facebook group page. This is Stacy Hill and New Light Video Magazine. Be informed, but not misled.
When information is beyond belief, beyond conspiracy, or beyond the norm, then it's beyond news. Find out more at articlechase.com/beyondnews.
Geodesic domes. As Rick and I head to the new home of the Rollin Green Eco Station in the Colorado foothills, we plan to keep an eye out for the alien invasion from the comfort of the geodesic domes for our above-ground structures. Geodesic is defined by Wikipedia as an adjective meaning of, relating to, or denoting the shortest possible line between 2 points on a sphere or other curved surface, or as a noun meaning a geodesic line or structure, which turns out similar to the structure of a soccer ball. A geodesic dome is comprised of polygon and hexagon pieces, often with a planned door and windows incorporated into the structure. The designs of the geodesic domes are much more customizable than one might think, and offers a structure that can withstand hurricanes, tsunamis, earthquakes, meteor showers, and even nuclear blasts. Depending on the size and materials, a geodesic structure can be built in a few hours with entirely repurposed materials, costing literally nothing but time to build, or materials can be purchased and assembled for a fraction of the typical building structures, and can be completed within a few weeks for a large build with just a couple of people working together on it. They are built from the top down, with each lower level creating the arc of the dome as it becomes taller and wider. One person can easily build the smaller versions, but at least 2 people would be recommended for a larger build to help steady the frame as it is lifted. The shape of the structure not only allows for its amazing strength, but also creates an interior environment that's economically more efficient for heating and cooling. More than one dome can be connected using the same geodesic designs to create interesting shapes and structures, or to expand the interior square footage. As the Rollin Green project moves home to Colorado at the end of this month, our plan is to outreach with the community for donations of their disposals of tires, bicycle rims, and other repurposable items so that we can begin to build our eco-station with the geodesic domes as the above-ground structures. We intend to take them a step further in making them eco-friendly, and we'll be adding an earth berm around our structures so that we can continue to plant our gardens on top and to keep them perfectly insulated, as well as camouflaged to look like part of the landscape. We will be using plans I've gotten for free online at www.domarama.com, which offers thousands of eco-friendly do-it-yourself structures and projects, and thousands more can be found online in places like Instructables.com and YouTube. The possibilities are endless with this strong yet simplistic design that can be used to create portable shelters, bomb shelters, greenhouses, biodome ecosystems, unique eco-friendly family dwellings, or even an entire village. We are very excited at what the months ahead will have for us to show you as we film the progress and building of the Rollin Green Eco Station No. 1 in Castilla County, Colorado, home of the cattle mutilations and UFO reports for the past century. Perhaps we will have more than just our eco projects to give a fresh scoop on. Stay up to date on the progress of the Rollin Green project at www.rollinggreenproject.org. This is Samantha Phoenix for A New Light Video Magazine.
Because a first impression is a lasting impression. Visit Freedom Phoenix Web Solutions to create your best web presence.
New Year in October. Fall has once again blown in the month of October. I really do like this month. The smells, the colors, and oh yes, the busyness of this month. For me and many others I know, after the fall equinox, time goes by quickly and it seems we are so busy we can barely take a breath. It really makes me see why several religious paths consider October as the end of the year. These dates are the holiest days of the year for these paths. Historically, the Gaels or pagans celebrate October 31st as the end of the year. The Muslims celebrate a ritual called Jamarat, the last rite of the annual Hajj. On the 4th of October, Jewish celebrations from the 3rd to the 4th are known as Rosh Hashanah, and Islam custom celebrates the month as being the ending of the year. So why does the Gregorian calendar say December is the end of the year? October is right after the fall-autumn equinox, thus making it the last month of harvest, as the sun has retreated, taking us into the darker winter months. So let's take a look at the present calendar we use. The Gregorian calendar is also known as the Western or Christian calendar. This calendar was introduced in 1582 by Pope Gregory XIII. Named after him, it is a reform of the Julian calendar. It is commonly called the civil calendar now. Wikipedia states the motivation for the reform was to bring the date for the celebration of Easter to the time of the year in which the First Council of Nicaea had agreed upon in 325. Because the celebration of Easter was tied to the spring equinox, the Roman Catholic Church considered this steady drift in the date of Easter undesirable. as well as the Gregorian reform contained two parts: a reform of the Julian calendar, as used prior to Pope Gregory XIII's time, and a reform of the lunar cycle used by the Church, with the Julian calendar to calculate the date of Easter. The reform was a modification of a proposal made by Aloysius Lydius. An interesting note here is that Greece was the last European country to adhere to this calendar, only accepting it in 1923. There is much more to the story, but basically it is simply brought about by the Catholic Church to get the right date of Easter. Could the ancient energy be echoing into the future by the feelings we have of wrapping up things this time of year? I find it quite interesting that a whole record of time was formed just to appease one religion, one that is brand new compared to the others. We all seem to have a natural vibration around this time of year, and it seems as if it was tampered with to change the vibration. Sure, many argue that it made simple sense. In all honesty, it does not. There are times of the year that carry a certain vibration or energy, so to speak. Look at the spring. Don't we all feel the spring cleaning bug? And what about in fall? Don't many of us feel the same urge to air the house out, cleaning and getting rid of things that are no longer needed? These things are what we do at beginnings and endings. No matter how one tries to change things, it seems the vibration will still be there. So go ahead, honor this time as it used to be. This is a very sacred month for many religious paths. It isn't a month around death, but a month to release what is not needed so we can welcome the things that are needed into our lives. Take a moment and honor this time as our ancients once did. See the sacredness of this time, feel it. Take some time and learn more about how and why things are as they are now. Find your path to truth. This is Stacy Hill, wishing everyone a happy October and a very happy New Year, and may your next year be sweet and abundant. In New Light Video Magazine.
Yo, man, I put on my New Life Video Magazine shirt last night before the show, and man, it was crazy. Man, I came home with costumes, some lady sunglasses, and a lei around my shirt, man. All I'm saying is screw the rock star life, man. It's video magazine life for me, baby. Yeah. Yo, man. Coincidentally, you can get these shirts on their website, man. It's freaking awesome.
Happy Halloween from a New Light Video Magazine. Naturally, our October issue is inspired by things that go bump in the night. The creepy, the spooky, and the paranormal. We didn't have to go very far to find Patrick Burns, TV host, personality, and paranormal researcher, right in our own backyard. Savannah is, after all, America's most haunted city. Here's that interview with Patrick. Hey, Patrick.
Hi. Thank you for having me today.
Yes, thanks for coming and talking to all of New Light Video Magazine and all of our viewers. We'd like to know a little bit about what you do.
Well, I'm a paranormal investigator, ghost hunter. I'm in my third decade as a researcher into all things supernatural with an emphasis on hauntings and ghosts. And I've found some unbelievable evidence here in the city of Savannah. And I'm really looking forward to continuing my research work as an investigator of the paranormal here in my new home.
What can you share with us about your new perspective or a perspective you have on the research you've done?
I got into this out of, it was a side effect of personal loss. I had a brother who passed away in an automobile accident in 1985, and it sort of propelled me into this field of study because I wanted to find something tangible that I could, an experience that I could have to reassure me that my brother was okay, he still existed, that I would be reunited with him someday, beyond what mainstream religion tells me to just accept hook, line, and sinker. And that sort of propelled me into this. So I got into the paranormal initially looking for answers to questions. And ironically, today, I think I have more questions than I have answers when I started out. You know, we make assumptions about what we believe is spiritual energy, but there's always another possible explanation to stuff. And this is one of the things that was very difficult for me to grasp as I began doing research in the paranormal. You know, there was a time when I had delusions of grandeur, that I wanted to find the smoking gun evidence that would prove to the world that ghosts exist. And what I learned is it's actually kind of ironic. The more compelling evidence that you present to people, if this makes any sense, the more compelling, the clearer an image of an apparition in video or in a photograph that you show to people, the more people are inclined to think that it's been fabricated and hoaxed. So you have this crazy catch-22 where, you know, we're getting better evidence in some instances, but because there are people out there, there are charlatans out there that will deliberately fabricate stuff, it works against us. I mean, there are apps that you can get for your iPhone or your Android that will actually superimpose a ghostly figure into a frame for you. So we have this plethora of photographic and video evidence that's coming forth, and you know, the overwhelming majority of it is being fabricated, or you kind of have to dismiss a lot of it and look for this evidence in other areas other than visual evidence.
Where can we find out what you're doing and a little bit more about where people can come and see Patrick in person?
Yeah, I'd encourage anybody that wants to experience paranormal activity for themselves to come on one of my investigation tours. Of course, nothing is guaranteed, but knock on wood, we've been batting 1,000. The dozen or so tours that I've done, we've gotten something on every one of the tours, so I can't promise anything, but Savannah is known as America's most haunted city, and it's definitely living up to those lofty expectations, at least for me. I've had some amazing experiences, and if people want to join me, become a ghost hunter for a night, I encourage them to go to sixthsenseworld.com and look for Savannah Ghosts Paranormal Investigation Tours. Click on that. You can purchase tickets right there online, and I would love to have everybody join me, and let's go find some Savannah ghosts.
I'm Tammy Sabo. I hope you've enjoyed our feature story, sharing a little bit on the paranormal with Patrick Burns. Happy Halloween!
History, hauntings, happenings. Find your truth with Sixth Sense World. www.sixthsenseworld.com.
What's up with unexplained livestock mutilations? Cattle and wildlife mutilations have been talked about more in the last few years than ever before, but that is definitely not because it's a new phenomenon by any means. Unless you are also a UFO buff or live in certain areas of the globe, you may not have even heard of the animal mutilations, but they are a very real occurrence and only truly unexplained if you don't want to accept the evidence they leave behind. The mutilation of livestock, especially cattle, has been recorded as far back as 1911 in Australia, when a herd of sheep were found with the exact same unusual medical mutilations and organ harvesting that is still currently taking place. A breakout of UFO sightings were also reported in the area of the occurrence. For those that are unfamiliar, I want to give fair warning that the information and images are graphic and horrendous. All of the bodies found as part of this phenomena have too many things in common to be ignored or rightly categorized as anything other than this specific mutilation. Unusually burnt ground is commonly found around the bodies at all the mutilation dump locations, typically with some type of taint left in the soil. In almost every case, they are still warm to the touch. There is a jaw strip removed, leaving a large portion of the jawbone and teeth exposed, usually on the left side, and with the tongue removed. To the left or both eyes are removed with a cookie cutter patch of skin removed around the area, exposing the muscle without any additional damage or trauma. One ear, usually the left, is removed and has the same unusual patch removal of skin. Another common trait is called the rectal coring, which is a hole that appears to be bored through the bone around the area of the rectum, measuring 15 centimeters or less in a perfect diameter, through which some or all of the organs are removed. While some are also found with limbs removed or partially removed, and other extraction procedures that are not always as common, the removal of the reproductive organs in part or completely and other stem cell-rich organs are always missing from the bodies. No tracks of any kind, including the mutilated animal's own, are ever found. The removal of the skin is said to be done with an instrument that can heat up the collagen in the skin and cauterize it while separating it from the muscle at the same time, all while leaving no carbon residue. The other common pattern when the mutilations occur is a total lack of blood in or around the bodies. This is a technology that we are currently incapable of duplicating or reproducing even now in 2014. So how was this done in the early 1900s? While some try to explain these occurrences away as animal predation or other natural causes, that can never account for the lack of blood and gore, the precise removal of bone and tissue, or the scientific evidence that is found, or even more interestingly, what is lacking. No DNA from any creature other than the mutilated animal has ever been reported in the carcasses. In fact, the insects and animals that would usually clean up a carcass seem to steer clear of them, leaving no other animal DNA as well. Viral or bacterial infections are not found. Tool marks are not found. Absolutely nothing we know of on Earth can actually explain what is happening. All that is really known and proven is that the medical procedures used to remove the parts are not a technology that we have the capability of on this planet, not in the military or science divisions. The lack of burnt carbon in the laser cookie cutter-like incisions is the most unusual fact. So, what's up with that? Just after the end of World War II, and especially in 1947, reports of UFOs and mutilations began coming into the official channels, though not yet well known in the media. Through unofficial official channels, there are reports of President Eisenhower in 1955 having a covert meeting at Halloran Air Force Base to make a pact with an extraterrestrial faction to not mutilate the abducted humans in the United States. Henry W. McElroy Jr. has testified and made a video oath to reading classified documents stating that Eisenhower met with extraterrestrials and that he had been part of ongoing meetings with ETs during his time as president. Could these documents also hold the key to the lack of human mutilations in the United States and explain why the U.S. is always leading the group to respond and clean up, no matter which country the remains are discovered in? This has been the case across the globe with alleged UFO crashes and the animal and human mutilations found worldwide. Some animal mutilations include more wildlife than commonly seen or at least reported here in the States. Is this further support for the information that President Eisenhower made a treaty with the beings doing the harvesting? In the 1960s, quiet reports of random mutilations began across the U.S. until the first publicly renowned event of the horse mutilation became headline news for Alamosa, Colorado in 1967. The decade of the 70s had more of these occurrences than ever before in the U.S., and in 1975 to 76, massive animal mutilations began in Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, and continued into random other places over the years, all linked to UFO sightings or some type of unexplained phenomenon of lights in the sky, moving in unusual ways to our technological abilities. Off-the-record eyewitnesses have reported to have seen beams of light with animals floating to the light source or back to the ground, but none have been willing to be documented. Many times, however, the animals found appear to have been dropped from a great distance. Cascade County had a multitude of reports of unusual sightings during this time as well. Bigfoot reports, UFO reports, and cattle mutilation reports all came flooding in together for a period of a year and a half in the mid-70s and have still been reporting cases over the last 40 years. Sheriff John P. Howard in Montana, who investigated cattle mutilations for Shogo, worked with veterinarians about the possibility of an earthly technology, who concluded it had to be extraterrestrial and related to the UFO sightings. Organs were missing from animals due to procedures that were not possible within medical knowledge and technology of the time, nor currently. Sheriff Tex Graves in Logan County, Colorado, was getting calls every day during this time in the 70s. This was also the time that the alien abduction reports of humans became more common. In 2002 to 2013, in Argentina, an estimated 4,500 animals have been found mutilated in the same way and with the same massive effect as the occurrences in the US and Canada in the 70s. There was even a reporting of a pile of various wildlife animals found with all the typical mutilations as the livestock. Within 2009, mutilations of calves happened over a period of several months in the San Luis Valley, known as the Sanchez mutilations on www.ufonut.com. These have become one of the most documented and talked about cases yet. The UK, Canada, Brazil, Australia, Russia, and many others have had their own rash of mutilations during these decades from the early 1900s, with horses, bison, cattle, sheep, goats, and some random others, including humans. all have coincided with UFO reports. The cases of human mutilations are found completely hairless, as well as with the typical mutilations and lack of blood. In all the other countries, the American military shows up to take control of the evidence, the bodies, and to secure the witnesses for their silence. So how exactly would one of these events be recognized as a pattern of animal and human mutilation cases? Number 1, bright white or orange lights are seen in the sky and UFO sightings are usually reported in the area. 2, the animals appear normal and healthy until their mutilation. 3, while the harvesting varies between each case and the parts that are taken from the individual animals, the techniques of removal are consistent in each case and unknown to the technology of the time or currently. 4, cases of the human mutilations have not occurred in the United States except in part of Alaska that is relative to the mutilations in the areas of Russia. All other countries with the animal mutilations also have human mutilations with the same correlating surgical expertise. 5, the bodies are found warm with no tracks of any kind and no blood or other expected gore from these types of mutilations. And 6, the area that the body is found on and the carcass often have an unnatural level of radiation and have been known to make people that are close to those areas sick in different ways, often resembling mild radiation poisoning or blood diseases. So while there is not any hard evidence given for the perpetrators, a clear explanation as to who is responsible leaves one thing to be certain. It is not possible for humans to be the culprit. So who does have the technology and the ability? And just what is the reason for their harvesting of planet Earth? This is Samantha Phoenix asking, what's up with these unusual mutilations, and will we ever have definitive proof of the truth behind them? Visit our website and tell us what you think about this unusual phenomena. Thank you for watching and listening.
Entertainment Central. It's our trivia time. It's music trivia time. Yeah. The answer to last issue's trivia question. What rock and roll legend has an 8-foot bronze statue of themselves erected in Lubbock, Texas? Buddy Holly. While speaking with two of his friends, Waylon Jennings brought up the idea of honoring Buddy Holly for his contributions to music. The idea grew, and in the late 70s, the West Texas Walk of Fame began as a tribute to rock and roll legend and Lubbock native Buddy Holly. In '79, a concert was held to raise money to commission the creation of a heroic-sized statue of Holly for the walk. Grant Speed was commissioned to create the 8-foot bronze statue of Buddy Holly that now stands at the Walk of Fame. This issue's trivia question. It's movie trivia time. Star Beast was the original name for what scary movie? Look for the answer in the next issue, baby. And a new trivia question. Yeah!
Hey, let's face it, twerking ain't easy, and you can really hurt yourself if you don't know what you're doing. And it's not for everyone. That's why I invented my new 20-minute workout. So grab those guts, rattle those kegs, and fluff those muffin tops, cause it starts now.
This guy's getting a lot of exposure with his ads. Find out how you can do the same. Send an email to innewlightmag@gmail.com and put ad space in the subject line. Because who wouldn't rather see more of your ads and less of this?
It's so great. I would not recommend doing that on a full stomach.
Well, it's that time of year yet again. Time to throw on your costumes and head out for a night of Halloween fun. For many, after the trick-or-treats are done, the party's in, and the nightlife dies off, it becomes the perfect time to wrap up the evening by watching something spooky or fun. With that in mind, I went back and dug up a little treat that is the right mixture of spooky and fun. I'm talking about Mockingbird Lane, a show that may have been a bit ahead of its time. While the show, to my knowledge, only made it through the pilot episode, it was well worth taking the time to watch it. So what is Mockingbird Lane? Many of us may remember a show in the early to mid-60s about a family of monsters called the Munsters that lived at 1313 Mockingbird Lane. If you don't remember or had not yet been created, you should look it up. It was a lot of fun and led to the show Mockingbird Lane. The show is, if you'll excuse the pun, a revamped version of the Munsters that is written by executive producer Brian Fuller of Pushing Up Daisies and Heroes and directed by executive producer Bryan Singer of the X-Men films and House. While the Munsters were pretty campy, Mockingbird Lane leans a bit more to the darker side of comedy, with a few well-placed nods to the original show slipped in for good measure. Mockingbird Lane showed great potential and even boasted a well-chosen and very talented cast to breathe new life into the characters. So what can we expect from the updated story of these characters? What is new and interesting on Mockingbird Lane? Let's look at the characters and how the new cast chose to portray them. The new version of Herman Munster, played by Jerry O'Connell, loses a lot of the campy goofiness of the original version's personality, as well as the stereotypical Frankenstein look. These changes not only help modernize the character, but also make Herman easier to identify with on a personal level. Herman's wife Lily, played by Portia de Rosa, trades the old Bride of Frankenstein look for a much more sultry style, while managing to retain the same loving vampirous personality of the original character. Eddie Munster, played by Mason Cook, lays to rest his old schoolboy outfit for a Cub Scout uniform and a pro-normal outlook on life. Wait until he finds out how much of a Munster he really is. Marilyn Munster, played by Charity Wakefield, they say is the normal one in the family. However, the new take on this character seems to have a much darker side than the original, hiding beneath her normal exterior. I found myself waiting for Marilyn to surprise the whole Munster family in some unusual way. Hopefully the show will rise again and we can see where they take this character in the future. Last, but certainly not least, is Grandpa Munster, played by Eddie Izzard. The original Grandpa was somewhat of a caricature of Count Dracula, but Mockingbird's take on the character is much more intriguing. Eddie Izzard portrays Grandpa in a fabulously devious, stylishly cynical, and darkly sophisticated manner that is much more entertaining to watch. The others struggle to fit in and worry about what the neighbors might think of them. Grandpa, on the other hand, challenges them to be proud of who they are, to be Munsters. Besides, who cares what the neighbors think of the family when they should be more concerned with what Grandpa is thinking? So in closing, if you're looking for a fun, spooky, and interesting show to check out this Halloween, I highly recommend Mockingbird Lane. Hopefully you will find it as entertaining as I have, and perhaps breathe a little life back into a show that never had a chance to reach its full potential. This is Rich with INLVM, wishing you a fun-filled, safe, and spooky holiday season. INLVM has only given you a sample of Clandestiny's amazing album Following the Muse. Go to clandestiny.bandcamp.com to hear more and to pick up your copy today.
The Halloween season is a time for many spooky sounds and screams, but no Batty Bash would be complete without the musical odes to our favorite monsters, ghouls, and magic. So I present you with the top 15 Halloween songs according to Rick. Number 1, Mars Attacks, theme song by Danny Elfman. 2, Thriller, the full version by Michael Jackson, 1982. 3, Tubular Bells theme, Exorcist by Mike Oldfield, 1973. 4, Hellraiser by Christopher Young. 5, Love Potion No. 9 by the Clovers. 6, Hellraiser by Ozzy Osbourne. 7, Hell by Squirrel Nut Zippers. 8, Bing Crosby Sings The Headless Horseman, 1949. 9, Don't Fear the Reaper by Blue Oyster Cult. 10. Halloween by Stephen Lynch. 11. Werewolves of London by Warren Zevon. 12. Somebody's Watching Me by Rockwell, 1984. 13. Highway to Hell by AC/DC. 14. Rocky Horror Picture Show soundtrack, The Time Warp, 1975. 15. Monster Mash by Bobby Boris Pickett from 1962. While we could take up pages with many more must-have tunes for dancing with the devils in the dark, be sure you include these top 15 in your party rockin' rotation. Be safe and have a happy Halloween. The real issue of a zombie apocalypse. Some of you may be wondering how a zombie apocalypse pertains to holistic health when it seems like a topic straight out of a horror flick. But the chilling truth is that science may not be so far from creating something that could bring this fantasy to a frightening reality. In 1969, the American organization known as the CDC, or Center for Disease Control, published a manual titled How to Survive a Zombie Apocalypse. I actually had a copy of the publication at one point, but due to molding from water damage, it was unreadable. This document used a cartoon strip style storyboard along with text to inform people how to prepare for a long-term catastrophic event. The comment from the CDC was that it used this zombie scenario so as not to incite any fears of a real catastrophe. But is this idea of a zombie apocalypse so far-fetched when we take a look at the facts? The legend of a zombie originates from the mystical practices of the Voodoo religion in Haiti. It is reported by its followers that the witch doctors with secret knowledge of their ancient practices can steal a soul and control a person until the spell is broken. In all cases of Haitian zombification, a powder made from human remains and natural neurotoxins is introduced into the bloodstream, usually by being absorbed into the skin. The result is what appears to be death, though the people that have been inflicted have reported hearing, feeling, and seeing everything going on around them, and being unable to respond in any way. A commonly known account of this happened when a dead man returned after 18 years with the claim of being held captive and made to work on a farm with other slaves. The Haitian zombie appears to be more of an enslavement, likely hypnotically induced once the effects of the toxin wear off. This is a far cry from the brain-eating, ravenous mutants seen in the entertainment industry, but could this type of zombie actually have a place in the future of mankind? In a documentary called The Truth Behind Zombies by National Geographic, startling information has been revealed about how the rabies virus, if genetically engineered and mutated to incubate rapidly and become more communicable, could actually create an effect and damage in the human brain to cause a pandemic of the zombie proportion. It includes an interview with a scientist that explains in detail how the mutations could happen, with an implication that these experiments have been and are currently being done. All this information brought me back to my own reasons for turning away from Western medicine and toward the healing properties of nature. In this day and age, there is a pill or potion for everything imaginable. In fact, it seems the answer to everything that occurs in the human body is to shove some kind of laboratory-prepared concoction down your throat and just trust that it's safe and meant to make you healthy. Or it has a list of possible side effects that are worse than the original reason for needing treatment. How hard would it really be for the pharmaceuticals to be tainted with additional substances that we are totally unaware of? This is where I personally came to the conclusion that I would much rather trust the earth and a natural remedy to provide healing. In the event of this viral mutation of rabies, I seriously doubt that reanimated corpses will be rising from the graves on a mission for devouring brains. But I am definitely left to question the real possibility of a virus that eats the brain tissue, leaving only the basic cortical functions intact, to create what could appear to mimic many of the typical Hollywood traits of a freshly turned zombie. So when you take a close look at it, is a zombie apocalypse so far-fetched after all? This is Samantha Phoenix, urging you to stay healthy and be aware of your cravings for fresh brains. Thank you for watching and listening.
Today, we're going to look at the many health benefits of guanamakahuji juice. Guanamacahuji juice is a life-giving juice that has been made and bottled the same way for thousands of years. Notice the little ridges on the bottle. They help aerate the Guanamacahuji and actually promote its health and life-giving juice qualities. And it's truly delicious. You can almost feel it going to work instantly as it courses through the system, providing the body with its much anticipated and needed life-giving elements.
Is there something you want to know more about? Send your story request to innewlightmag@gmail.com and put story request in the subject line, because knowledge is always power, but ignorance is not always bliss.
Oh, that's not good.
Delicious edible eyeballs. Halloween is known for its parties and fun festivities. This recipe is so easy the kids can help out and have fun being a part of the preparations. Ingredients: 6 large eggs, a 1/4 cup of mayonnaise, 2 tablespoons stone ground mustard, 3 drops food coloring, 2 black olives, 1/2 teaspoon pimentos, or pickle slices. Directions: bring the eggs, covered with 1 inch of water, to a boil over medium heat. Once the water boils, take it off the heat and begin timing the eggs for 12 minutes. After 12 minutes, transfer the eggs to a bowl with cold water. Allow the eggs to cool until they are easy to handle. Crack each egg all over, but do not peel it. Place in a 1 quart resealable plastic bag along with 1 cup of water, 1 teaspoon each of vinegar, red and blue food coloring, or color of your choice. Seal the bag and place in the refrigerator for 1 to 2 hours or overnight. Remove the eggs from the dye and discard the dye and bag. Carefully towel blot the shells dry, peel the eggs and cut each in half. Remove the yolks, placing them in a small bowl, and place each egg half on a serving platter. Mash the yolks with mayonnaise, mustard, any other seasonings, and a few drops of green food coloring. Place this mixture in a piping bag or use a small sandwich bag with the corner clipped off. Pipe the mixture into the egg halves and top with a slice of olive and a piece of pimento. Can also use chopped red bell pepper or tomato. Play around with the color of the cracks or quarter a pickle slice to make slit eyes. Be creative and have a happy Halloween.
Yogami Fit, integrating radiant health. Contact Lynn today at yogamifit.com to start your journey towards a healthier, happier you.
Astronomy and Astrology. Astronomy photo of the month is the Witch Head Nebula. The Witch Head Nebula is located in the Eridanus constellation between 900 and 1,000 light years away, but lies very close to the star Rigel, which is in the constellation of Orion. Orion is becoming more visible in the night sky in the wee early hours and is a great sky landmark to find in the night sky through the fall and winter. This nebula is faint, but may be spotted with telescopes. Here is how to find it. If you can see the Orion constellation, you are looking at the Witch Head Nebula too. The brightest star in Orion is Rigel. Rigel is typically considered the hunter's knee in the Orion constellation. Eridanus is a long flowing constellation, and in many older cultures it represents flowing water. These two constellations become very close at the point this nebula is found. The Witch Head Nebula resides between the star Rigel in Orion and the star Cursa in Eridanus. On a side note, since we are talking about the Eridanus constellation, it is noted to mention that it is also the home of the largest void in space yet to be discovered. But that is another story. Image credit is NASA JPL Caltech Sky Maps created by INLVM. This is Tammy Sabo wishing everyone a happy witchy Halloween from a New Light Video Magazine.
INLVM is proud to share some of Tom Joyce's beautiful work from his new album, Aberg Piano Works. To hear more of this album, go to tomjoycepiano.bandcamp.com/releases. Pick up your copy today.
Astrology with Tim Halloran. We have a special treat to share this month in our Astronomy and Astrology section. We are happy to be able to share the insightful astrology forecast with you from the astrology consultant of Rasha Leela Healing, Tim Halloran. See what means what, when, and where. Here's Tim's forecast for October. This month provides more an abundance of transformation and evolutionary energies, shifting the direction of both our personal lives and the collective. Eclipse season means things are being shaken, moved around, taken on different arrangement and form. Because this year we have Pluto in square to Uranus, the evolutionary and transformative possibilities are even more far-reaching. We kick off an initiation to this whirlwind of energy with a full-blood moon lunar eclipse conjunction Uranus and Aries. This moon may be anything but steady and easygoing. Rather, the urge is to get going and fast as Uranus and Pluto put the pressure cooker on to push us into vaster levels of understanding ourselves in all of our depth. What our true talents are, what our true motivations are, what does our unique individual have to offer. And in terms of offerings, we are learning how much we have to offer one another. How is it by offering the whole of ourselves and all our talents to the world and not hoarding them to ourselves, we actually discover the fullest potential to be both inwardly self-satisfied and outwardly attractive and loving. We also have a retrograde Mercury for the next 2 weeks. This Friday, he will move backwards from Scorpio into Libra to guide our minds from the heavy and critical lens of Scorpio through our history of relationships, represented by Libra, to reanalyze our dynamic with others and see our unique way of operating within them. On his journey back to 6th degree Libra, Mercury is going to hang out with the Moon's north node of Fate from about the 20th through the end of the month, meaning that we are going to be getting a lot of potential insight into the future and our soul evolution by following Mercury into the underworld, into our past, where we get a clearer picture of the murky subconscious parts of ourselves that often steers us without our consent. Ideally, getting access to this depth will paint a fuller image of our totality and our unique story, how it all happens for a reason, taking us where we are now and further yet. Near the end of the month, just a week before Halloween, we've got another eclipse, a solar eclipse, just as the Sun, Moon, and Venus enter Scorpio, concluding this eclipse season, but not without planting a seed of internal transformation that will last us many months. What is unique about this solar eclipse is not only is it at 0 degrees Scorpio, right on the Libra cusp, but it is also exactly conjunct Venus, the ruler of Libra. This seed of transformation is very much about allowing for very intimate and deep emotional relationships to blossom forth, the collective desires and underlying platform of trust, so that way we can sincerely and honestly open our chest of secrets, see what is there and what to work through. We are moving out of a paradigm structured around separation and moving into a period where we can trust the cooperation and empathy of those around us. It takes hard work to dig through our own trust issues and open ourselves, especially as we collectively become aware of the amount of work we have yet to do in order to mend the divides on this planet. Finding newer, livelier, more foolproof means of how to structure and build cooperative relationships in our lives in the essence of these changes being brought in by the eclipses. That, in combination with a grand trine in fire and many powerful aspects to Uranus this month, are flinging us forward into totally brand new and revolutionary ways of accomplishing both our individual and global missions. It will take a great amount of patience and careful grounding movements through this month's energy to best find a means of practicality channeling into reality the brilliant energy that is at our disposal. By first and foremostly being open to change and not fearing the shocking or unexpected, we are given real opportunity to take some significant leaps into a future that takes into consideration so many more factors than we currently know. If we can center our awareness within the stability of our own beingness, our vessel, we can transverse the excitement of this month with a great sense of appreciation. Ride the waves of wonder and excitement instead of getting too absorbed in the worldly drama. Such worldly drama is there to provoke our forward-thinking minds to find creative solutions to the challenges at hand, not be dragged under. Fortunately, the high active energy allows us to easily float, so as we can keep ourselves balanced between floating away or being dragged under. We can ride this wave to great lengths. Celestial Events Calendar, October through November of 2014. The new Astronomy calendar and Astrology forecast are combined into one easy-to-follow presentation, where you can see what is happening by the dates that events are occurring in one section. INLVM presents the new ANA Celestial Calendar and Forecast. Enjoy! On Saturday, October 4th, Mercury goes retrograde in the sign of Scorpio. Mercury enters retrograde October 4th of 2014 in Scorpio. It will be retrograde until October 25th, 2014, when it stations in Libra. Mercury on its fateful path of reckoning. Yes, it is happening again, and the rule of thumb is don't sign contracts, don't travel, and electronics are likely to have mishaps. This is happening during a grand fire trine, which many of us astrologists believe to be some good news. While we are likely to be avoiding contracts and stalling travel plans to get through this retrograde, there is a great potential for artistic inspirations and creative endeavors. On Monday, October 6th, we have the peak of the Camelopardalis meteor shower, which is active from October 5th through October 7th. On peak, we can see about 40 per hour. On Wednesday, October 8th, we have the peak of the Draconids meteor shower. It's active from October 6th through October 10th. The peak is variable. On Wednesday, October 8th, we have the full moon with a lunar eclipse occurring. It's in the astronomical sign of Pisces and the astrological sign of Aries. The full hunter's moon, also called the full harvest moon, blood moon, and sanguine moon. When the moon's in Aries, our actions can become energetic and on fire. During this phase, you are sure to be driven with a need for action. Overall, it's a very positive transition to get all sorts of things done as well as started. Aries will urge that pioneering spirit in us to come to the front, and you may find yourself being more outgoing and spontaneous. Often this transit offers excitement at its best and the desire to urge positive progress. Quick responses to issues may come far too easy, and the caution is not to be hasty. On Friday, October 10th, we have the peak of the Southern Taurus meteor shower. It's active from September 10th through November 10th, and on peak we can see about 5 per hour. On Saturday, October the 11th, we have the peak of the Delta Aurigates meteor shower, active from October 10th through October 18th. On peak, we can see about 2 per hour. On Saturday, October 18th, we have the peak of the Epsilon Geminids meteor shower. It's active from October 14th through October 27th. On peak, we can see about 3 per hour. On Tuesday, October 21st, we have the peak of the Orionids meteor shower, active from October 2nd through November 7th. On peak, we can see about 18 per hour. On Thursday, October 23rd, we have the new moon in the astronomical sign of Virgo and the astrological sign of Libra. The new moon in Peacemaker Libra. During this transit, we may find that we are able to relate to the problems of others and their point of view. It may offer an opportunity to experience more sympathy and understanding for individuals with inner struggles. The caution in this transit is to not allow yourself to take on their battles. Libra is usually very diplomatic, but during the darker side could have a tendency to get overwhelmed with emotions. The key is to find balance in issues that are occurring with you and around you. Remain calm. Thursday, October 23rd, we have a partial solar eclipse visible in North America at approximately 5:44 p.m. On Friday, October 24th, we have the peak of the Leonis Menors meteor shower. It's active from October 19th through October 27th, and on peak we can see about 2 per hour. On Saturday, October 25th, Mercury comes out of retrograde in the sign of Libra. On Monday, November 3rd, the second peak of the Southern Taurus meteor shower. It's active from September 10th through November 10th, and on peak we can see about 5 per hour. On Thursday, November 6th, we have the full beaver moon, also called frosty moon. It's in the astronomical sign of Aries and in the astrological sign of Taurus. The full moon in Taurus is likely to set the tone for indulgence and appreciation for the love of the good life and fine things. Taurus is likely going to be urging us to seize the moment and enjoy life at whatever expense. This could have us splurging a bit in the sake of fun and good times. Our emotions with this moon may create intense emotions of thrill-seeking and adventure. Wednesday, November 12th, we have the peak of the Northern Taurus meteor shower. It's active from October 20th through December 10th, and on peak we can see about 5 per hour. Monday, November 17th, we have the peak of the Leonids meteor shower. It's active from November 6th through November 30th, and on peak we can see about 15 per hour. On Sunday, November 21st, we have the peak of the Alpha Monoceratids meteor shower, and it's active from November 15th through November 25th. On peak, it's variable. Saturday, November 22nd, we have the new moon in the astronomical sign of Libra in the astrological sign of Scorpio. The influence of the new moon in Scorpio can often influence the emotions in extreme ways. Being overly protective of things, ideas, projects, or people could create challenges if taken too far. Watch out for that jealousy impulse lurking. The caution is to be aware that your emotions could be making you more aggressive than usual, and it is best to rethink situations before you allow your emotions to drive you to outburst. While emotions are heightened, so is energy and intuition. These can boost determination and the urge to achieve. Now for other planets in retrograde. When a planet is going retrograde, it will appear to rotate in a backward motion, and these are called planets in retrograde. Chiron entered retrograde June 20th of 2014 in Pisces. It is in retrograde until November 23rd. Chiron is the planet of the healer, and in retrograde makes the healer part of us feel a need to be healed. During this phase, we may find ourselves holding on to hurt feelings. Feeling wounded or hurt can be felt more intensely. Being able to forgive could create a challenge. While your hurts may be very real, realizing that they are being intensified can help you work through situations. So try not to make yourself or allow yourself to be the wounded duck. You don't have to crash, and it will get better. By helping others with similar wounds, it can help us heal our own. Uranus entered retrograde July 21st of 2014 in Aries. It is in retrograde until December 21st of 2014. Uranus tends to be more potent and more intense when in retrograde, so expect the unexpected. It will give a new driving power to need change in our lives. It can create rebelliousness against any sort of discipline if we feel trapped. It's a good time to focus on making plans on how to change what needs to be changed, and allows us to think about our reaction to changes. It also gives us a chance to rethink and organize. Uranus retrograde forces us to confront our fears and personal blocks, and creates moments of realization. If you're in the wrong job, working toward the wrong degree, or dating the wrong person, Uranus retrograde will let you know. Neptune entered retrograde June 9th of 2014 in Pisces. It is in retrograde until November 16th of 2014. We are more likely to see things that may have eluded us before. If you're already a fairly sensitive person that seems to be able to feel others, this could produce moments of psychic overload. This period is excellent for developing your psychic perceptions and general intuition. Pay attention to your instincts and gut feelings. That concludes our Astronomy and Astrology Celestial Calendar and Forecast. Visit our website at www.anewlightvideomagazine.com for more information and some cool merchandise. I'm Tammy Sabo, the INLVM staff astrologer, sharing an outlook on astronomy and astrology.
In New Light Video Magazine, seeing in a new perspective. We're the first of our kind as a video magazine, combining the portability of video with the convenience of a magazine that reads itself to you, making our publication user-friendly for the hearing and visually impaired. We strive to bring you, our viewers and listeners, stories that we hope will inspire you to see things in a new light. To find out more about who we are, what we do, and how you can become a contributor to show your support, please visit our website. And while you're there, check out our social media connections as well, including our new virtual world experience. That website is www.innewlightvideomagazine.com or www.inlvm.com. As always, from the staff here at INLVM, we thank you for watching and listening.